Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Big Ten Under 10 on the Hoosier Network. I'm Graham Nash, with, of course, Adam Oppenheim, bringing you more updates from men's sports. As per usual, we will start with baseball and then move our way through tennis and golf. In baseball land, number 13 Oregon overtook UCLA last weekend for the highest-ranked Big Ten team in the country. That is because the Ducks won 2 out of 3 against the now number 15 Bruins in Eugene. We may be seeing this matchup again in the Big Ten tournament. Who knows? Interestingly, neither UCLA nor Oregon actually sit atop the Big Ten table. That title belongs to the unranked Iowa Hawkeyes, who swept unranked Michigan on the road last weekend. Iowa hasn't played the best competition in the league thus far, but they will play the Indiana Hoosiers, who are trying to fight their way into the top third of the conference this coming weekend. Speaking of IU, they got a big series win against Maryland last weekend. They won 2 of 3, both via a walk-off. Freshman Will Moore hit a walk-off single in the first game. Adam was actually on the call for that one. And Devin Taylor hit a three-run walk-off home run in the third game. Notably, Devin Taylor made IU history last weekend, hitting his 48th and 49th career home runs over the weekend. He now has the most home runs in IU program history. Adam, I won't ask you about the IU games, even though I know you were there for the first one. It was a great call. What I will start with is Oregon and UCLA. How were the Ducks able to get a win over the then higher-ranked UCLA Bruins?
Well, I think it starts with the Ducks pitching staff. Grayson Grinsell. In the first game, a complete game, 1 earned run on 105 pitches.
Wow.
You do not see that often at all in college baseball with the aluminum bats. The way a lot of hitters don't strike out, to throw a complete game in less than 110 pitches is absolutely incredible. As for the second game, they just didn't really have their best pitching arms, and then near the end of the game, they started to just toss out guys who they were, willing to get hit around a little bit more. So they lost that one 14-4. They also had a pair of errors in that game. But the third game, they had 2 4-run innings. The Ducks' offense is so unbelievably hard to stop. Mason Neville, pair of home runs in the series. He now leads the Big Ten with 19 home runs. That's 2 more above the person in second place, which is Corbin Dickerson of Indiana. This Oregon team is absolutely incredible from top to bottom, but I think it starts with Grayson Grinsell, who is a top 5 pitcher in the Big Ten and probably a top 20 pitcher nationally.
Wow. Yeah, that offense, able to put up crooked numbers.
Yeah, they are.
That is for sure. I want to stick with the Oregon talk real quick. Have they proved that they're the best team in the conference?
I don't know, because Oregon's been good. They beat UCLA. I still lean Iowa, and even though they haven't played great competition, they haven't lost a Big Ten series this year. Yeah. And they haven't really been close, and a lot of the games have been blowouts. I mean, we're looking at an Iowa team that's coming off a sweep at Michigan. Michigan, they're not a great team, but they're also not a horrible team. And they have 2 terrific starters. Cade Obermueller and Aaron Savory is the best 1-2 combo in the Big Ten. And for Obermueller, up until the start against Michigan, 26 straight innings pitched over 4 games started without allowing a run. Wow. 79 strikeouts on the year. That's in 10 games start. That's around 8 strikeouts per start. I think he's a top 1 or 2 pitcher in the Big Ten. Now, they play Iowa in the last series of the season, so I think that will determine who's the best team in the Big Ten. But for now, I think Iowa's getting really overlooked. And you look at some of the series that Oregon played, they lost the series to Ohio State while Iowa swept them. And 2 of those games ended in 7 innings. So if we're comparing the teams back and forth, Iowa, although they haven't played the same strength of schedule, their strength of record is absolutely terrific.
Very interesting. Well, I'm glad you brought up Iowa, because I want to ask you, will they have the stuff to beat Indiana?
Well, I think, based on this last question, the question should be, will Indiana have enough stuff to beat Iowa? But as for the question that you said, Iowa will definitely have the arms and the hitters to compete with Indiana. Really, the great thing for Indiana is their offense is absolutely terrific. The problem is the pitching staff is not very good. And for Iowa, I think people looked at them as a top 5 Big Ten team coming into this year because of the pitching staff. The hitting was a question mark. They lead the conference in average, so the hitting should not be a question mark anymore. Indiana relies heavily on the long ball, which Iowa doesn't as much. And you're talking about the Indiana starters. There's a lot of question marks. In fact, their best starter, Cole Gilly, against Maryland, went 2 innings pitched this weekend, gave up 5 earned runs. So you went from 2 starters to 1 starter that was reliable to 0 now. And that's a problem. If you don't have a good starter over a 3-game stretch. I mean, how are you going to compete with Iowa team that's going to throw out Savory and Obermueller, who were two of the best pitchers in the Big Ten? And then you're talking about Indiana's second or third starter. That's Gavin Siebold, and he has the highest ERA in the Big Ten among qualifying pitchers. That's 8.71. So besides the home run balls that, Devin Taylor and Corbin Dickerson, they're probably going to hit against the Iowa pitching staff. The problem is the Iowa offense matches up well with Indiana, and then you're looking at the pitching staff, and Iowa's pitching staff is all the way here, and Indiana's pitching staff is very low, very low. It's one of the worst in the Big Ten, and that's the problem for Indiana.
It's under the desk.
It's way under.
The arm went down here.
Too small.
Man, wow. Yeah, the average has been fun because those two have been going back and forth.
That's right.
You flip over the coin, the ERA gets interesting. Well, we'll have to watch, see what goes on. We're going to move on to the courts, where the Big Ten has just 2 tennis teams ranked in the top 25. Number 3, OSU had a good week, taking down both Indiana teams by a wide margin. First, they swept IU 4-0, and then they beat Purdue 4-2. In similar fashion, number 21 UCLA swept Wisconsin 4-0 and beat Nebraska 4-1. Both of those were on the road. And I made a mistake. There are actually 3 ranked teams in Big Ten tennis. That's number 25 Michigan that rounds out the group. They took a tough loss to their in-state rival Michigan State 4-2. We're going to end the show talking golf. Lots of Big Ten teams played in the Boilermaker Invitational, which was actually won by Marquette, one of the few non-Big Ten teams that were in attendance. Purdue finished the highest out of the Big Teners at their home tournament, coming in second at just 14 under par. It was 2 shots behind the winners. Illinois and Michigan State tied for third at 10 under. Indiana tied for fifth at 9 under. Michigan came in 7th at 8 under, and Iowa brought up the rear in 12th at 11 under. Coming up, the Big Ten championships are 11 over. 11 over, not 11 under. They would have probably won. The Big Ten championships are this week. Man, case of the Mondays, you guys. From Friday to Sunday at Baltimore Country Club in Maryland. And that is going to wrap up today's show. Huge thanks to our producer, Colin Dusick, and teleprompter Henry Thuss for sticking with me in this pretty poor reading and for making all of this possible. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at B1G_under10 and check back in later this week for our next episode of Big Ten Under 10.